Hey, before we go any deeper, I need to say something that you may have never heard before. You are not the problem, but your programming might be. If you've ever wondered why things feel hard, even when you are doing everything right, this talk is for you. Because no matter how smart, talented, or driven you are, your life will always reflect one thing: your subconscious beliefs. Not your goals, not your dreams, just the story your subconscious is still stuck telling itself. You could be doing everything right, reading the books, setting the goals, repeating the affirmations, but deep down, something still feels off. You keep circling back to the same place. Now, let me tell you one thing first. That isn't a failure. That's actually friction between what you want and what you believe. And today, we begin to close that gap. Let's get this straight. Wanting something doesn't mean you believe it's possible. Wanting is surface. Believing is root. But being visible makes you unsafe. So you keep hiding. You can want love, but believe love always ends in pain. So you chase unavailable people or push the good ones away. You can want peace, but if chaos was your normal, peace will feel like foreign, uncomfortable, maybe even boring. So your subconscious says this doesn't feel right, even if it's exactly what you said you wanted. Because your subconscious doesn't care about your wish list. It doesn't care about your 5-year plan. It doesn't care about your journal entries. It only cares about what it's learned to associate with safety. And here's the paradox. Sometimes what's safe is what's familiar, not what's good. And that means you'll keep chasing what hurts because it feels like home to you. Not because you're broken, because you're wired that way. But wiring can be redone. Your subconscious was built before you had logic, okay? So before you had any language, it was there. Before you had the chance to say, that doesn't feel right. You watched, you absorbed, you felt. Every moment of tension got stored. Every raised voice got encoded. Every time you were ignored got labeled as normal. Not because you understood it, but because your body said, okay, this is what the world is like. Your beliefs weren't chosen. They were inherited, handed down through generations, passed on through glances, moods, reactions, environments. And if no one broke the cycle, you started living it without even realizing it. Here's the part most people miss. The subconscious doesn't operate from truth, it operates from repetition. If something was felt often enough, it became a law, even if it was completely dysfunctional. Love is equal to pain, success is equal to burnout, being seen is equal to being judged, speaking up is equal to rejection, and so on and so forth. Your subconscious wrote the rules. And now, years later, you're still playing by them, even when they make no sense. Okay, but this isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Because awareness is the beginning of reprogramming. You have to first acknowledge something to get it fixed. If you don't recognize it, if you don't accept it, how are you going to change it? Okay, so let's talk about how this shows up in the real world. Because this isn't just psychology, this is everyday life. Tell me this, have you ever downplayed your joy so no one would feel uncomfortable? Yes. Have you ever turned away from a healthy relationship because it felt too easy? Maybe. Yes. Have you ever had a big opportunity and then found a way to blow it up? Maybe yes. Have you ever said you wanted to grow but never made the call, never took the class, never hit publish? Maybe yes. Okay, that's not laziness, okay? That's not fear of success. That's your subconscious stepping in to say, this isn't what we know, let's go back to the familiar. Maybe it sounds like, oh, that's too much. Oh, you're not ready yet. They leave anyway. What if it all goes wrong? And what happens next? You pull back, you delay, you disappear. Not because you want to, but because you're aligning with what your subconscious believes is safe. But here's the breakthrough. You can't change what you don't see. Once you recognize the belief behind the behavior, you can start to question it. And questioning is how you loosen the roots. Now, let's talk about the part most people don't want to talk about. Reprogramming your subconscious doesn't feel like magic. It feels awkward, unnatural, repetitive, and slow. Because your subconscious only trusts what it knows, and it only learns through repetition with emotion. So, when you try to introduce a new belief, it will resist. Not because the belief is wrong, but because it's foreign. If you believe for 20 years that love means abandonment, telling yourself, I am safe in love, feels like a lie at first. But it's not wrong, right? Your body will flinch, your mind will scoff, your nervous system will reject it. But you keep doing it. You keep going. Because you're not trying to fake a new belief, you are trying to familiarize your system with a new possibility. And that takes time. But it's not impossible. You begin with small rituals, like speaking kindly to yourself even when no one's watching. Or start practicing mirror work even if it feels so cheesy. Or maybe writing the new story even if the old one still screams louder. And most of all, you watch your reactions. Because the reprogramming isn't just in the affirmations, it's in the pause before you shut down, the breath before you sabotage, the moment you choose not to follow the old script. Every time you do that, you rewrite the belief, one layer deeper. Not instantly, not perfectly, but powerfully. You know, you can't heal just by learning. You heal by living like it's already true. This isn't the scariest part, because now you are not just listening to a new truth, you are walking on it. You're speaking up even if your voice shakes. You're resting even if your mind tells you you're lazy. You're receiving love even when your body expects betrayal. You're showing up as the version of you that your subconscious is still getting to know. That's where the shift happens. Not in the mirror, not in the journal, but in the tiny moments where the old belief wants to take over, and you pause, and you breathe, and you say, that's not my story anymore. So, if you've been waiting for a sign, if you've been wondering when it's safe to start living like you're already worthy, let this be it. You don't need permission. You don't need to earn your healing. You don't need to wait for someone else to say, it's your time. It's already your time because the truth is, you were never broken. You were just believing in stories that were never yours to begin with. Now, you are the author. Now, you get to decide. And your subconscious? It's listening. It always was and it always is. Now it's time to give it something new to believe in. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.